Welcome to the Blood Brothers podcast. We are joined this evening, as ever, by myself, Sean Coleman, Mr. Rob Parker, and Mr. Chris McDonald.
Hello.
And we are also hello. And joining us in our guest author seat this evening is the wonderful S.E. Moorhead, author of Witness X.
Woo!
I got your name right the second time.
Congratulations, well done. Well done.
Sorry, lad. Who's this down here in the corner?
How you doing, Sarah? It's good to have you.
It's great to be here, but I've got to open with a complaint, I'm afraid.
Oh, my word. No,
Yeah.
what?
Well, I'm loving the merch. I love the merch.
Oh, no, I know
Now,
where this is
listen,
going.
don't even try and get out of
agree.
it. £4
Rob did
extra, £4 extra if you're a girl, right? Now, I said to Rob, I know my boobs are going to take some engineering, but £4
It is
worth
definitely-
of material.
It's £2 a boob in Rob's world.
Hang on a minute. I'm not in charge of the... I think... Oh, gosh. You see, now, this is the first time I've ever been really on the spot on the podcast, I think. Because obviously, I have strong feelings on this. But
What, on boobs or on foot?
No.
And that's feminism.
Oh, no, I'm really going to go red
boobs.
now. The pricing structure of the merch is not something I can control. So
Okay,
I'm not allowed
That's
to.
it. That'll do.
Is that all right?
That's all I need to
dear,
hear.
thank God. I was so worried. So, yeah. Oh dear. So I'll arrange some sick markup on things like coasters or something like that. I'll make sure tea drinkers pay a massive tax.
The tea tax.
I was just going to say tea tax.
Yeah.
Don't go any further down that line.
No, let's not go there. History says, which shall not be repeated. Welcome, and congratulations on Witness X. I think we all agree, absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Can you give the listeners who stupidly haven't read it yet a little brief? Have you been pre-prepped for a blurb?
No, but I do listen to your podcasts a lot, so I kind of know what's coming to some degree. It's a very fine podcast. So it's about a neuropsychologist, and she designs a machine which can help you to see other people's experiences. And there's a crime where a serial killer was caged 14 years ago, and then when a body turns up in exactly the same MO, they're wondering, have we got the right guy, and is something else going on? So she has to use her machine to get into the minds of the witnesses to see what they've actually seen.
How do we get this in front of big decision makers at Netflix, Universal Studios? How do we? Because the hook here, I mean, it's high concept blockbuster mania. This for me, and it has been since
Netflix. Could you imagine how fabulous that would be?
Oh, I know,
So wonderful.
But it lives there. It needs to live there. It is. I think somebody did describe it as sort of Blade Runner-esque, didn't they? Or Blade Runner meets
Silence of the Lambs.
Silence of the Lambs meets
Let me
Blade
see.
Runner and everything, yeah.
I've got a lot of respect for Stephen Baxter. Stephen went to my school probably about 10 years or so before I did. And I met him at, we have a yearly lecture, Roche lecture. And so Stephen came to deliver it. And it was wonderful. And I asked him, would you have a look at the book and whatever? And I think something got lost in translation, because initially he said it's quite Minority Report and Silence of the Lambs. And I went, that's exactly what I was going for.
Yeah.
So something got a bit lost in translation, which is good for marketing. But you've seen my 1-star reviews. There's a couple of hardcore sci-fi fans who are outraged. And fair enough, fair enough. But
they're the hardest ones to please. I remember doing a sci-fi series for Sky and Sony Pictures. It was an online thing, and it was destined to be seen by 15 people. But we tried to get a whole bunch of sci-fi bloggers, key influencers in the sci-fi world, people called Dwarf something or other, to get on top, to get on board and to promote it. And some guy just wrote back and went, "Fuck this shit. I'm going to go watch some decent sci-fi."
Oh, God. Although, do you know when I was writing it, though, I didn't really, I don't actually see myself as a sci-fi writer. I see myself as a crime writer with a hint of sort of, spec fic or tech. Yeah. I've got issues about, I'm only a debut, obviously, but I've got issues about who I am, my identity, you know. And I thought at first maybe I was sci-fi, but I'm not. My heart's firmly in the crime thriller genre.
The heart of the book is definitely of the criminal world. The crime. It's a crime book through and through. It just happens to take place a slight window into the future, and I think that, sadly that automatically means in the future. Hang on, well, it must be sci-fi.
I know, and I think it's put an awful lot of people off in some ways, you know, because a lot of people have read the book now only because I twisted their arm up their back, and they said, you know, I wouldn't have picked this book up, but I absolutely loved it, and so you know, I don't know who the saint of Netflix is, but I'm praying to them. I think St. Clair's. I think St. Clair's the patron saint of television, so I'll get on to her, see if she can. Yeah,
she's all right. She's a good woman.
She's a good woman. Yeah.
But it was interesting because when I wrote the code, which is the first of it's cybercrime, cyber terrorism. It's every single thing in it is absolutely real, and all of the interviews I got, but all of the ones organised by the publisher as well, were organised with sci-fi websites, and you're like, but it's not sci-fi; it's just fi. And this is
or as my dad calls it, my dad calls it skeefy. I don't think he's heard it. I think he's just seen it written down, and he calls it skeefy.
Oh, what a man!
Oh, he's so good. He's absolute legend. My dad, he's a legend. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That'll have ruined. I get like little earworms, you know, like and phrases become things at home that the kids are like, oh, here he goes, he's got a new one, and skeefy's going to be the new one at home now.
Yeah.
I'm writing a skeefy at the moment.
Congratulations, well done.
Your dad will be pleased.
One of the things I loved loads about Witness X, Sarah, was that the window that you painted of the future was like alarmingly realistic. You know, like, and you could completely see this happening and getting there. And what research did you put into that, or was it just thinking where we are now and what's happened in the last 15 years versus what's happening in the next 15 years? How did you go about it?
Right, it's a number of things. First of all, it's watching a lot of films in the 80s, absolutely obsessed. Grew up in the 80s, just totally obsessed. And then just tempering that. So tempering a bit of RoboCop and a bit of, Blade Runner or whatever. There's also, as you say, you know, if you just sit and think about things and it just leads you on to the next bit, doesn't it? I think the biggest key to my books is the what if. Just what if you could see in people's minds. So you take any story and just go, well, what if? And you add that, and that's the X factor for me when you're looking at a story. And then recently I've read a book, Susan Greenwood's Tomorrow People. And she wrote it at the turn of the millennium. And my word, 20 years in, and I'm reading that book, and the hairs on the back of my neck are going up because there's so many things that have actually happened. And I swear to God, reading the chapter about education and remote teaching, it was just as though she'd seen what I was doing all week this week, doing my teaching remotely. You know, she's talking about education online and lecturing on the net and stuff. So there's an awful lot in that. So I think it's a matter of pondering, reminiscing on 80s movies. And, you know, I've got a lot of, my family's a big mix between, and this will come out, it's a big mix between, you know, Irish Catholic Scousers and scientists. We're very much religion and science, very much. So we talk about a lot about scientific stuff. I mean, a lot about religion and where things are going and the morality of technology. So all those things are just bumbling around my head.
Love it.
Yeah.
What an answer.
Yeah.
What an answer. Yeah.
You asked, I told you.
I know, yeah, seriously. We can sign off. I mean, that was amazing.
That's recorded.
Yeah.
There's a nice Twitter question sort of based on what you were saying there about that book almost, where someone asked, are you afraid of your imagination almost, like where it'll take you and what ideas will come from it? So it's quite nice.
It's a great question. I really like that question. I think when you're a writer and when you've got a lot of imagination, it's very easy to be afraid by what you can imagine. Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And that's where we get things down on paper, because it's where you get your darkness out, isn't it? It's where you get the frightening things out. And, you know, I just think, I can think about scary things and hate it. I also have, I have anxiety disorder. And so what I find with writing is that it massively reduces my anxiety as I induce anxiety into other people. And that's why I like writing thrillers, because I'm kind of sharing the love, you know. If I'm going to be scared and stressed, I'm going to make you scared and stressed. And
get it out on the page.
Honestly, get your darkness out, get your fears out, get your superstitions out as well, because sometimes if you write it out, then maybe it won't happen. So, I am. And I'm a little bit afraid of the future. I don't like thinking too much about things, because once you start, you know, thinking about where things could end up, you have to stop yourself sometimes, don't you?
Yeah, I think that's very interesting. I struggle a bit with infinity. Like the idea of infinity, that once you look up at the stars, it doesn't actually stop. Ever. And I think, like, I get to a point where I'm like, no, I've got to rein that back in, because that's a bit too big.
I had that once when I used to be a diving instructor, and I was working in, I was out in the Maldives, and it's right on the equator, and I had finished diving, and I lay on the beach, and I was looking at the stars, and it was really clear, and you could watch them move because you're right on the equator, and it was like,
wow,
you could watch them move past you, and I was overwhelmed by the sense of how small I was.
Oh yeah,
that's the thing.
In that infinite universe.
And Sean, the word for that is numinous. The numinous. I teach RE, as you may well know, and numinous means that sense of just.
That's me getting a pen and getting this written down.
NUM.
I thought you were injecting yourself.
Yeah.
And I just sort of, that sense of there's something out there, that I'm small and there's something massive going on. And I will talk religion, but you can cut it out of a sound like, I had the ball.
No,
but,
look, I wrote the Alex Ripley series. I'm all for talking religion.
You see, I'm obsessed at the moment with the idea of the infinite mind of God, that God can consider absolutely everything and every possibility, and multi-universes, and the fact that the people we meet, it's like the material of the universe, the weft and weave of the universe. We meet people and we don't know why that's happened, and it might mean nothing to us, but it might be really important for them. And just the fact that infinite minds and infinite thoughts and considerations, all part of this amazing sort of plan in infinity. And I just think that's just amazing to think about.
I'm obsessed with it. The boys know, because they've both read the first 35 odd pages of it. But the book that I'm writing at the moment is basically, if you could go back in your life and change the one thing you regret most, would you do it? Knowing that it had a knock-on effect. So it's all about that multi-world, multi-universe thing.
Yeah.
And if so-and-so gets ripped out of their universe, the repercussions for 6 other characters, and
you see,
and it's got serial killer, and it's got romance.
I am reading that, Sean Coleman. I'm reading that.
yeah.
Well,
I've got to say,
Sam
really
Calderbanks, you don't know my name. Thank you very much. Stephen Collins, whatever your name is.
Stephen Collins, that will be the name on this book. It's 20,000 words in at the moment.
But it's also, Sean, it's the fact that, when you meet somebody or something, you have a relationship with somebody in whatever flavour that relationship is, or however long, that you don't understand the consequences and the meanings and the higher meanings of all those things that have occurred. So I just think that's
also the machinations of that bigger plan. Like, if those two die in an accident, or those two are injured in an accident, they're taking up the theatre beds in a hospital, which means that the other person is not going to get into theatre in time, so will die, which then knocks on. And when you start unpicking all of those, like every
the weft and the weave of the material,
as a consequence, it's a huge. I love it. It's a huge message, but it's a mindfuck to write.
There was a phrase you used a minute ago, Sarah, which I really like: the morality of technology. And both, Witness X, that is the exploration of the morality of technology is huge.
Sure.
And the same with what the book we're discussing with Sean's new one there, and that central hook of. And they said it in Jurassic Park again, didn't they? I always go back to that. No one ever thinks about whether they should. It's whether they could or not. And it's that this development of technology. And that hook of we can go into a serial killer's mind and see if he did it or not. It's just ace. Where did that come from for you?
I'm obsessed with. The idea of truth. Is there an objective truth? I'm just it just, rummages around my head constantly. Is there an objectivity to things? Is there a single truth? Or, the way the human brain will put their own stories, put their own slants, put their own narrative onto things that happen. And I think telling stories, and it's just at the heart of what it means to be human. It's what we do. It's what our brains do. We have to have stories because it makes sense of our existence, that my history as a person is my life. So therefore I can contain my identity and retain my identity. But then the way I see things, I'm obviously going to put a slant on things to suit my needs, or because that's the way I understand it, or because I don't have all the facts, or because that's the way I experienced it, where other people might experience it differently. So, yeah, truth, just obsessed with it. Plus, I'm a really nosy cow, and I want to know what's going on inside people's heads.
It's like, I mean, like you're a child of the 80s as well, but do you remember getting those comics on a weekend, and there were always adverts for X-ray specs, and you were
yeah.
I don't want to see what's under their clothes. I want to see what's in their mind.
Yeah,
that's what I want my X-ray specs for.
Yeah. Mind reading superheroes. Yeah,
I wanted that nonsense. I wanted that. Anyway, we just all ended up writing, so we make it up instead. I know what's in your head.
Next best thing. If you can't make the world, and that's another reason I write. I can't make the world the way I want it, so I'm just going to make it up and write it. I'm going to write it the way I want it.
Yep. And that is the best way to do it. Bloody inspirational, is that?
Yeah. What about your journey to publication then, Sarah?
Oh gosh, Rob, it was heartbreaking. It was really.
Yeah.
It was so complicated. I started writing really when I was about 4 years old. As soon as I could put pen to paper, my mum was lovely. She's just fabulous, and she read to me every night. I had my own little library in my bedroom. We were brought up to respect books and to love books. And so I always loved writing from when I was very small. And when I was about 10, I wrote this horrendous rip-off of Blythe Spirit, Noel Coward. It sounds really posh, but it was only because we were coming back from Conway on holiday and we heard it on the radio. And it talked about theatre of the mind, this amazing play and the ghosts and the comedy. And I was like, I'm going to do that. So I got my felt tips out and I got folded paper. I wrote this Spider and Amber book that was a total rip-off of that play. So I've always wanted to write. So anyway, I ended up, as I say, I wasn't particularly well as a teenager, and had a lot of struggles with anxiety, which in itself is really interesting, and has benefited me in a lot of ways as well, and it makes life more interesting where you can see things from that perspective. And so I got into teaching, and when I was about 24 or 25, I sat in the staff room and I said to myself, I can't do this job. This job is so hard. I cannot do this job. I particularly can't do it till I retire. So what else can I do? And when you look at, you have to look at who you are as a person, what you are. And I was a writer. I look back and I said, I've been a writer ever since I was a kid. That's what I need to do. And it's taken me 25 years of teaching, still teaching. I tell you what, if I would have murdered a kid on the first day, I would have been out 15 years ago on license. Honest to God, but no.
I would have been able to do a creative writing course in prison.
I would have had all the time right in prison.
Was it Matt Veselowski last week that said that he had his was it him who said he had his careers advice thing, and they said he was going to be a writer?
Yes, that's right.
And yes. Can you bloody imagine being told at that age?
But no, you see, I should have been advised in sixth form, go into journalism or do English literature or whatever, but I wasn't. But anyway, so the next thing is, so I struggled to write. So I joined, when I was about 25, I joined a little writers group. Really recommend that if people want to write. Started off writing short stories because idiot here didn't realise that's one of the hardest types of writing you can do. But it's good to flex your muscles and give it a go. Then I started, I think because I lacked confidence, I started writing a children's book and spent a few years on that. And then, anyway, when I had my youngest son, Tig, which interesting. It's an Irish name, as Chrissy will probably know, and it means a philosopher or a storyteller. And my husband, it's a cracking name. And my husband's a philosopher. He studies. He got a first-class honours degree in philosophy in Ulster University. They're all his books. You see there, they're not mine.
Fancy.
I've got the ones on the piano in the background, the piano desk. I've turned it into,
I do like the way they sloped that. I mean, I know the viewers, the listeners at home can't hear it, but it's a beautiful.
You probably can't see. They've got the little lights as well that light up the strings behind. My musical friends think it's absolutely horrendous that you bastardise a beautiful instrument. But I say, no, it's my writing desk. It's a piano desk. Anyway, so when I just had Tig, I don't know if you know, but when maternity leave is a very, very creative time. It's really creative. And I had this idea that I loved for a book, and I actually wrote it in 10 months. And that book got me an agent, and she pimped me around all the publishers, but they weren't too keen on having it. But Sam Eads at Trapeze Orion said, "Well, I don't want that book. What else have you got?" So it felt like a Dragon's Den moment, where I don't want, I don't want what you're making, but I like you. So I went, okay, what about this one? And just pitched that idea. And she said, right then, let's do that. So my agent had been off on maternity leave. Then finally I got round to getting Sam. And then, so I spent this, it was horrendous. Imagine having 18 months with an idea, no book, and like one of the best editors, in the industry. Yeah, imagine. So my learning curve was huge. My learning curve was massive. And then Sam went off on maternity leave as well. So that kind of delayed it a bit. And then Phoebe Morgan, who is a great girl, she finished it off, happened to finish off the book.
Yeah,
and then we got published. So, all in all, it only took about 20 years. Yeah. Start now, kids. Start now. If you want to write a book, start now.
We all have these stories, though, don't we? And it feels like you're wandering around in an absolute barren wilderness for so long, doesn't it? And every now and then there's like a little hint of a mirage. Like a little hint of maybe salvation, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And
it's just not what you expect, is it really at all? It can't. Well, I'm sure it is for some people. I'm sure some people bang off a book, pop it into the post, and the next thing is, they're all singing, all dancing, book deal, and and they can give up work. But it just for the majority of us, it's just not like
book deal that's reported. For the 14-year-old at every book fair that goes, 14-year-old strikes 6-figure book deal. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm thrilled for this.
We've just got to fight harder, and if there's anything about the Scousers, that's what we can do. This is what I want. This is what I want. I'm tenacity. My dad, Terry, Skeefy man, he's got this cracker. He's got this cracker little Skeefy man. He's got this cracking video of me when I'm like 18 months old or about 2, and I'm in the garden, and I've got one welly on, but the other welly's lying on its side on the grass. And I try to put that welly on at least 24 times, and finally I get it on, and I just walk off. And my mum just looks at me, she goes, "That's you all over that, just tenacious." and I think if there's one thing you need to write, you have got to be bloody minded. You've got to have tenacity.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's that resilience as well that you just go, "I failed,
sure.
I failed, I failed, I failed."
Fail better. Fail better.
Almost. Welly's on. Right, I'm off on my next job.
Welly's on, off you go.
There was an amazing bit of 8mm cine when my mum was pregnant with me, so in the early 70s. And she's all sort of beautiful, long, sort of dark hair, and this huge bump of a child ready to be produced. My sister was 2 at the time, toddling down a driveway with her wellies on, and then her face just dropped, and she turned into that sort of matchbox mouth howl of a child that's done something terrible. And my mum, who definitely did not want to be on camera at any point with that much baby in her, came in out of side of screen, lifted my sister up, pulled the welly off, poured the wee out, shoved the welly back on. And that's the only video of me as a child. In my mother's belly.
This is a good one.
You can put that camera away, you bastard.
The equivalent for me is my the one that always does the round is my dad. I'm in a lovely jumper, and I'm 18 months, and I've got a Luke Skywalker haircut. We'll get into that in a moment. And I'm learning to say the word Guinness. and I can't go like Guinea, and then I grab the thing and drink it.
Good
lad. I'm pretty sure we've had our duties put in the Guinness when we were babies. You knew you dummy.
Yeah.
Just have a go at that.
My mum used to give me. My mum used to give me a small bit of Guinness in my bottle for night. That was night.
Oh yeah, for sure.
There you go.
Yeah.
Mind you, she also gave me coffee when I was 6 as a nighttime drink. From 6 years on. So.
Speaking of Luke Skywalker, slight segue here. Sarah, you've been watching the entire Star Wars saga, haven't you?
Yeah. And look, I know the listeners can't see, but this is the real hero. R2-D2. R2-D2 is the real hero.
Yeah.
It's just amazing.
We had a chat about the younglings, didn't we?
Oh gosh!
When Anakin decided, spoiler alert, to massacre the younglings.
Horrendous.
Why
do you laugh when the younglings are massacred?
It's a nervous laugh.
Robert.
No, it's not. It's not, because it's such a mad moment. Like, I know you've got to justify that the character's got to go to that place, but it's a Star Wars film. You can't kill a load of kids.
I tried to kill a dog in my last one. Even threatened killing a dog, and I was warned off because I love dogs. Chill, Sean. I love the dogs.
We've all had the note: don't kill the pet. Don't kill the dog. Not even the wild stray dog. Don't kill the dog.
No.
Or any animal.
But you've got to love Star Wars. You've got to love Star Wars because it's just, apart from the fact it's epic, it's light versus dark. It's got religious and spiritual themes. It's got very strong women these days. It's just so exciting. It's been a real education. I mean, I have seen them all at one point or another, and I do wear my hair in layer buns at times, but I wouldn't go as far as a bikini. But just, what I wanted to do was to hold that whole universe in my mind and try and just bring it all together for myself so I could understand it all. And I feel like I've got a much better grip on it now.
That's so cool.
When you said I tried layer buns, I thought you meant like layer cake. But just like a bone cake version.
It just shows who your priorities are, Sean.
I do love a bun. I do love a good bun, though.
Oh, who doesn't love a good bun? I mean, seriously, yeah.
Who doesn't love a good bun? Right, because we've got to get back on book talk. Have we got more Twitter questions? I know we do.
We've got some lovely questions. Yes. Right. We'll do quick fire here. Would you go in a self-driving car?
No, I don't think so, because I think computers make split-second decisions that human beings wouldn't necessarily. I think there's some thing in the human brain which would help us make a slightly non-logical decision that would be preferential.
What an answer. Lovely.
Again, the answer tonight. Wow.
Not soft as a look, am I, Rob? Hey. Don't start.
Hey, I'm only down the road from you, Sarah. In Warrington, yeah.
Second the pub's open.
I know. We'll get a few restorative irons in. Yeah.
Oh, it's good for you, Guinness is good for you.
Very good.
This is not quick fire. I'm just going to point that out.
It's never going to happen, was it? We've had issues with the Scouse before.
But it's really funny you should say that, because who was I talking to? I was talking to somebody the other day about. I know it was a cracking fella in one of my writers club called John Thompson, and he's brilliant. He's got. Again, Irish Catholic Scouse background, and there's something about a Scouser where they are down to earth, pretty street smart, pretty switched on. I think they can be very humble lots of times, but at the same time they want what they want. I think that's a great mix. Plus, you throw the Catholic bit in. We can be a bit. Not necessarily guilty, but we can be aware of other people's feelings and the way you get brought up and whatever. And it really brings together, as a writer, an awful lot of things. You need to be a good writer, which is why I'm glad people like Harper are moving up north, it's because there's so many cracking writers up north. And, I think, it's easy to I mean, look at the state of me. I'm a blonde, scouse, female, how many stereotypes can you throw at a person? But all you've got to do is look at what I write or have a conversation with me, and you realise, well, actually, maybe she could be a writer. Maybe that's worth publishing, And I love this move up north now, and the fact that one of the good things about lockdown is that it doesn't matter where you're from in the country. We can all get together and experience different things and go to different literary experiences.
Yeah.
I've got kids. I haven't got a lot. I've got a demanding job. I haven't got a lot of money, so I can't be herring around the country going to this, that, and the other. So a lot of things have been much more accessible to me as a little northern woman up here.
But I think that's been a lot more accessible to a lot of other authors as well, who wouldn't necessarily be invited because of that distance. So you can be in foreign territory festivals, and we can we can just go. Well, 2 weeks ago we were interviewing somebody in Melbourne at the same time on our night, and you just go, well, we wouldn't necessarily do that if we were doing a live.
But also with disabilities, Sean, if you can't physically get out and about, or if it's difficult for you to move around, or if you've had mental health problems where you are very, very anxious about crowds, or maybe, Asperger's, and you feel oversensitive, or unusual situations are difficult, then there has been a silver lining.
Yeah, definitely.
It has, yeah, and because I think the chance to, when we eventually get back out there, our collective friendship groups and contact book so much expanded, and I can't wait. Yeah. And I'm going to be on a hug. I'm going to be a huggy problem.
Oh, me too. Me too. We'll have to prize us apart.
I know. I'm going to be a massive nuisance. I know.
I was thinking the other day. I thought we should get some Blood Brothers merch that's got bubble wrap inside the hoodie, because we're going to do so much hugging.
I know, yeah.
We might need a little protection from the beariness of it all.
You did, just to go back slightly, you raised a really important point there that I think that all of our adventures in publishing have reflected this, is that with Harper North coming up here, it's a great first move north. And with things like Northern writing groups, more and more people going to them now more than ever and stuff, is the misunderstanding of the North is being eroded now, I think. The fact that the geography of the North is being understood tiny bit more. It still makes me laugh. Like, for example, I saw this meme the other day of someone saying, if you're travel 2 hours in America and you're still in the same state, travel 2 hours in the UK and the accents change twice and whatever. Forget me, no way. Round up north, you travel 2 hours in a direction, the accents change maybe 15, 16, 17, 18 times.
Yeah.
For sure. It's mad. And and talking of which, I used to work in Widnes, as you know, because I taught our Stu there. And that's 6 miles away, and they're changing the accent between, the posh area where I live in Child Wall, very posh, and, then you got over in the Widnes, so the accent's really, really different, and they would, when I taught over there, it was funny because, as I say, about 6 miles maximum, but they would take a good 6 months to welcome you into their hearts. Definitely. They would observe you, and they were, quite an insular town. Yeah, it took a time.
I moved from very rural South Africa to very industrial South Wales. I was not readily accepted.
No.
But we know that booted out, wasn't he, of Wigan? Widnes, sorry, he can't go back because of the article.
Funny. I know, so funny. That is what you call shitting on your own doorstep. Excuse my language. That is what we call, yes. Well, Stu is an absolute treasure. He's an absolute treasure. He's just... I so enjoyed the podcast you had with him. I was in absolute fits. And, of course, I got a mention, so that obviously made it even better.
You're both national treasures, by the way. So let's
Thank you very much.
Did you not write a book, Sarah, about Stu and call it Widnes X?
Very good.
That's.
I mean, just a little short story because you did have
you win
practice in that.
But imagine, Sean, imagine having taught somebody who then goes on to just absolutely smash the book charts and then gives you credit. Right. I mean, on one level, I was so flattered, and like I thought my job here is done, because in teaching, often when you teach and you don't get a lot of feedback, until you meet people as an adult, whatever. So to get that sort of feedback gave an awful lot of meaning to what I'd done for a long time, and how difficult that could be at times. But then on the other hand, he just, absolutely smashes the book charts, and I'm just, I don't think it's ever going to happen for me.
It's interesting though, isn't it? Because I think of all of the teachers, my English teachers definitely inspired me, but the teacher who inspired me most in terms of honesty about humanity was my RE teacher, who spent all of the time giving us, as many different perspectives on religious education as was possible. And unfortunately for him, he was teaching in Newport, South Wales, and everybody was a fascist, bigoted, small-minded twat.
Okay, well, Sean can never go. Sean can never go back there then. Yeah, that's you just copied Stuart in the witness thing, haven't you?
That's okay. When I go and visit my dad, who's just a bit further in Abergavenny, I basically drive down the motorway crying for the half hour it takes me to get past Newport, and then I'm fine again.
I always imagined you were, for some reason, being taught by the Christian Brothers for some reason. I think it's just because you're so...
I was taught certain things by the Christian Brothers, but we're not going to talk about those today.
Let's not. Let's not.
Is this like the first time we have a Blood Brothers After Dark episode?
No.
That would be way too rude to do. I'm signing off now.
You can't handle that one.
I can't handle it. No way.
I know.
Rocking in the corner at the sheer
Ryan.
Rudy doodiness of the discussions.
Yes, please do. The quickfire round is going well.
Question 2 of the quickfire round, 13 minutes in.
Just because the questions are quickfire doesn't mean the answers are, Christopher. Come on.
My favourite one about this was, do you remember when we had Lou Burney and he gave quite a not a long answer, and then he said that was a bit of a Scouse answer. I mean, Lou Burney in the middle of America. Right. Question 2: who plays Kyra in a Netflix adaptation? Who are we tapping up?
Now, you see, I have no idea. I feel the characters. I feel them, and I know. I've been told I write quite visually, so you can see what's happening in the story, but I can't really. I can't decide. I think originally I'd had somebody in mind, like Saran Jones, who's kind of a woman in her 40s, kind of dark hair, whatever. I'm not into all these 23-year-olds running around looking fabulous. So I want a decent, mature, interesting woman full of wisdom. So I don't really know, but I think I'm more into the writers. I wouldn't do the screenplay because that's not. I haven't got that ability. But someone like Jed Mercurio, I absolutely just fangirl over Jed Mercurio big time. Just so for me, it's not about who play. As long as Tom was pretty fit, I'd be okay.
Saran writes a fucking great script. If you watch Gentleman Jack.
Did she write that?
Yeah, she's a writer as well as she writes a lot of what she does.
I do fangirl a bit on her to be honest as well. But I want a fit man in it so I can meet them, like I don't know, Tom Hardy or Eldris. So I don't know, somebody. I don't know.
There was a Tom Morgan at my boxing gym who was the same weight as me, who asked hard all the time. Yeah, so that's all I could see when I was reading the book was this guy. Yeah. It's quite niche.
Was it fit? Was it fishy? That's good then. That's good. It's a good strong name, Tom, I think. Isn't it a good strong name?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Lovely. Great answer.
I didn't even answer the question, Chrissy. I've got no idea. I just want somebody good to write it. That'll do.
We got fit men out of it, and that's what we want.
Lockdown has really changed, Chris.
This is after dark. This is
I know, yeah.
Rob.
This is my confession to the world.
The Christian Brotherhood will come a-knocking.
They've been locked down for too long.
Work in progress. What are you writing now? Because how do you follow this?
Oh, good question. So, I am quite obsessed with the idea of psychopathy. because I think psychopathy is part of the human spectrum. I think serial killers are part of the human spectrum. They're at the very, very thin end of the wedge, hopefully and obviously. So I kind of, again, pondering in the way I do about the science and the spiritual aspects of psychopathy. Why would, God make people who were thus? So I've been figuring that one out. And also, what I said before about the fact that I really want the world to be the way I want it. Not in a control freaky way, but in like a sort of 7-year-old girl, let's all be friends and draw flowers and share chocolates. So my new work in progress is about a psychologist who tries to cure psychopathy with synthetic empathy.
Ooh.
I like the idea of that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very nice.
More, please. Give me.
So it's nearly completed. Well, the vomit draft's nearly completed. So that I'm not a plot. When people ask, "Oh, you're a plotter or a pantser?" I'm like, oh, for God's sake! I think I'm a Heartbreak Ridge writer. I'm a US Marines. I have a vague plan, and then I improvise, adapt, and overcome. So I improvise along the way.
Stop with these amazing answers. This is too much for me.
Thank you. I adapt. When your characters go, well, I don't want to do that. I want to do this. So I adapt and I say, okay, let's work with that. And then when I get a massive plot hole, I overcome it. So that's me, Heartbreak Ridge writer.
That is very good.
So, to the question mark.
The new part, isn't it?
Yeah, let's not go plotter or pantser.
You just go, I don't even wear pants.
Exactly. But to go back to your question, so in an ideal way, why not? Why can't we think about the empathy centers of the brain and somehow fix them? I think one day we'll be able to do that. To be honest with you, I think that's a big possibility. But the brain is so difficult to understand. I don't think we know a whole lot about it. So it's just going to take time, I guess. And the more we know about it, the more we'll be able to tweak it. I think to tweak it. So I'd love to say my research meant I consumed massive amounts of MDMA, but I'm really, I'm just not that type of girl.
That wasn't actually research. That was just and giggle.
Yeah, so that's what I'm doing. So
no.
Sounds great.
Yeah.
Looking forward.
Yeah, thankfully, I'm really, really lucky because my elder brother, was he's not doing it at the moment, but he was a forensic scientist, and my little baby cousin, who's now 25, is a neuroscientist. And so I'm often on the phone, going, can you just help me with this? Can you just give me that? My baby brother's got he's a lecturer in criminal justice. So I'm always on the phone to these clever people.
Oh, no, this is
study
not
stuff. I know, and I'm just like making stuff up. And
I've got a sister who's a photographer / photography artist, and 3 accountants. I mean, one of them's a forensic accountant, but that's basically just finding out if somebody's cheated on their divorce settlement.
Yeah, for sure. You can't just throw the word forensic and make it exciting, Sean. You can't do that.
No, especially not if you follow it with accountant.
Yeah,
may as well have a forensic fridge. At least might have a brain in it.
A bit oxymoronic, possibly. I'm not sure if that fits there, but possibly. Yeah. So there you go. Some of my new book. I think it's going to be called Eye for an Eye at the moment, but so Grace is trying to save her friend who is about to get sent to Tier 4, which is a very, very serious part of the prison where he'll never come back from, and she believes that if she cures him and she proves that she can cure him, then she can get him freed.
Nice. Sign me up.
Is there like a date that you're thinking? Will it be out this year or?
Well, there's a sad story attached to that. My rocky road, my roller coaster of the publishing industry. Well, the people who published Witness X said it wasn't sci-fi enough, so they passed me up to a very, very superb sci-fi house who said it wasn't So Witness X said it was too sci-fi. Trapeze said it was too sci-fi, and the other part of Orion that's into ski-fi stuff said it wasn't sci-fi enough. So I'm sort of like, I'm out of contract, unfortunately, right now, but But, you know, I'll get on to St. Clair. I'll get on to Padre Pio. I'll be praying.
I've got friends
in high places.
This has to find a publisher because Witness X is so damn good that I'm not going to rest until that gets sorted out. That's ridiculous.
I've got to bang on the Saints bit again. Did I tell you I met Mother Teresa before she passed away as well? So I'll have a word with her. I'll say, come on, Mother, pull your finger out and do us a favour.
No, I mean, Jesus, if you've actually met somebody who's gone on to become a saint, I think
you're
basically anointed, aren't you?
I shook hands with Sean as well, but my mum and dad, right, who were like I'm rebel scum. Do you know? I'm a Catholic girl, but I'm a bit rebel scum. But they are like full on. They met Pope John Paul II, so they top trumps me. They got 2 saints.
Well, they really did. Once I really wanted to create a Top Trumps Apostles game. Just for shits and giggles.
Sure, I will play. I will play with you.
See,
I will play with you. Yeah, but go for the saints. They're so. You see, saints again, right? I know, bang on, but I'm just obsessed at the moment. They have got amazing stories. They get murdered in horrible ways. They do these mad miracles. You know,
there's a lot of evisceration of saints. I think that's quite. It's quite telling.
Evisceration's quite good fun, isn't it?
Yeah, especially when that's on your Top Trump.
Yeah, when Sean said create, I thought he said cremate. I
thought he said cremate.
Cremating the apostles. I'm like, what?
Too late for that, Sean. Love, too late for that.
Too late, love. You can't make ash out of these boys.
And girls. Hey, you know, listen, all the Blood Brothers stuff as well. You are so sexy. Blood Brothers, blood siblings presently. I hope I'm a blood sister now.
Blood sister, yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, so, you know, boys and girls.
Yeah, we only did Blood Brothers because we're all boys.
Fair play.
Yeah. The guests are majority girls. We like that.
Is that right?
Yeah, because the better crime writers come with a sort of slightly better understanding of the sick heart of the humanity.
Yeah.
You know what
That's profound, Sean. Profound.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I've got a game, and it's usually we do the 1-star superstar, but I think it's run its course because Matt Veselovsky showed us the light.
I loved it. Like Matt's game was fab.
Yeah.
It was
so
fab.
He said we could play it if we mentioned his book, so Going by Deity and the rest of the 6 stories. And we're into our game. So I've done what he does exactly. I've not changed it. I've not done anything different.
Marketing.
Well, you know, if it's not broke, don't
skirt over the terms and conditions. We're there. So what I've done is, he read our reviews to us, our 1 stars, and I haven't done that. So I picked somebody that gave you a 1 star, and there aren't many. But Mr. M. Edwards.
Oh, my friend, Mr. Edwards. Here's to you, Mr. Edwards.
So, I've gone into what else he's reviewed, and I'm ripping off what he did.
Okie dokie.
So all you have to do, the 3 of you, is guess whether he liked it or not, 1 star or 5 stars. So I've picked 2. So here we go. Did he like the diamond clean brush head in green? For a toothbrush?
No, I think he would have found it too scoury.
Okay, so you're saying...
And I think Matt Veselovsky would agree with me on this.
For his teeth, remember. It's a...
Yeah.
Oh, is it for his teeth?
Too scoury. I think it's too scoury.
I wondered if it was another part of his anatomy where I would probably have used it. Right, so let's think. He's hardcore sci-fi. He doesn't like my book. No, I don't think anything would be good enough. I don't think it'd be good enough.
No, you're saying no as well, like okay.
It. Yeah, I don't think he liked it at all. In fact, I thought it was scum.
Okay. So 3 no's, 3 1 stars, and 3 marks, 1 each.
We know that Edward's character.
Yeah, we've got your cards marked now.
Got your number.
Although, no, to be fair to him, I think he's hardcore skeefy, and I think it just wasn't what he wanted. I just disappointed him because he was looking for Blade Runner, and it was Minority Report. You know, it's just one of those things. It's not you, me, Mr. Edwards. It's not you.
And I'm sorry your toothbrush didn't work out for you.
Yeah, well, he's had the toothbrush for a while now, and it's fantastic. But it's recently started turning itself on randomly which is a known problem and completely freaky in the middle of the night. He has
because you're not supposed to use it in there in the middle of the night, Mr. Edwards. You're supposed to leave it in the bathroom for its intended purpose.
Here's the rub, though. I think this is the nub of the 1 star. He contacted he contacted Philips customer service, who know about this, but because it's outside of the 2-year guarantee, their hands are tied. He contacted Amazon in this case, where he bought them from. They give him a money-off voucher, and until it's eradicated, he will not be purchasing another Sonicare.
Do you think if I give him a money-off voucher for my next one,
and tell him it doesn't go off randomly at night?
He complains about a 2-year-old toothbrush.
Yes. Yeah. Well, the heads
just not made to last. They're just not made to last, are they?
He bought new heads, and he's got a complaint about the toothbrush. So, the second item is the game Siege Hero, which is a physics-based puzzle.
He loves it. Stop right there. He loves it. I'm sure he loves it. It's physics-based. It's a game. It's probably all full of men who know what they're doing instead of silly girls who try and write ski free. He loves it. He loves it.
Sarah thinks
I think he might have been that dwarf character who said he was going to go and watch some decent skivvy when I was writing it. So yeah, let's have him love that.
No, I'm going to step away. He hated that because it wasn't. Really? It wasn't. I don't know, physicsy enough.
The tagline for his review is medieval Angry Birds.
Doesn't sound
well. Is he talking about Angry Birds the game or women who met unattended?
I think a picture is being painted of this gentleman here.
Joan of Arc, there you go, there's a saint. She's a medieval
Angry Bird. On the fucking saint. Pop trumps that, my friend.
Thank you.
Well, for
the most highbrow homie we've had.
He gave it 5 stars, and he said, a nice take on the physics genre, clean graphics, good level design, and a sense of humour elevate this above its rivals. There are plenty of levels too.
Which probably elevates it a bit higher. Because
I'm glad it made you happy, Mr. Edwards. I am glad that made you happy.
Sorry about your toothbrush.
I think this is the first time we've had like the reviewer taken to task over their choices.
I just need to get out of my system. Do you know? I don't want to write anything on Amazon and look like a total div. I just needed some outlet.
I think we've just found the way that Blood Brothers becomes a little bit of therapy at the end.
Yes.
Really
I'll be £400, please, Sarah, for your counselling session. Don't start me on the English teacher, Rob. I mean, you owe these boys a lot of money for that English teacher of yours. Talk about therapy.
Still,
I nearly wrote you a letter. I nearly wrote to you pretending to be your English teacher just to try and make you feel a bit better because I was just so gutted.
Do you know what's next door? Like in my where my books are all the books.
The corpse of your English teacher.
No, he's not. No, he's and I'm so wet that if he said like I read your book and I really liked it, I'd go, oh, thanks, sir. I'd still be made.
I know, but you see, that's the young boy, and you reacting to him, and not the man, So I don't forget. No, listen, don't forget. We're teachers, right? Sometimes we're just really embarrassed or befuddled or confused. I mean, we're just human beings, and so it's very difficult to understand another person's response. Honestly, I just feel really sorry for you.
No.
It's made him the tenacious writer that he is.
It is, yeah. It was just.
But then again,
for fuck's sake, that English teacher is going to like one of these books.
Imagine if Stu Turton came to me and said, "I dedicated this book to you," and I said, "Oh, fuck you, wanker." It's just awful, wasn't it?
No, listen, I'm not 100% sure that that's what Rob's teachers did think. We haven't ever asked him.
Oh, no, he never replied to the... Well, he passed the book on, obviously, to the head of physics to read.
With a picture of a cock and balls in it.
No, like, to the name of the teacher, thank you for everything, signed by me, passed over to the head of physics.
He might have liked it so much he just shared it.
Maybe. And the head of physics obviously had to part his busy schedule of playing medieval Angry Birds, so he could get it read.
Didn't like it. Gave it back. Went, no, it's not even decent skiffy.
I know.
He only gave it to him to balance out the wobbly table on the desk.
Yeah, I know.
But don't take the physics teacher away from him. That's his little life raft.
Yeah.
The physics teacher is the beacon in this storm of despair. Please don't take the physics teacher away from him.
No. He did give it 5 stars for the school paper, though, which was nice.
See?
There you go.
Physics teachers know everything. English teachers get in the sea.
I just thought I've read all your books. I've read all of them. Well, not all your books, but I've read one of yours, and one of yours. Yeah, I've read 2 of yours, Chrissy, I think.
There you go. And you call me Chris.
Yeah.
I'm going to read the next one Sean brings out because that's really exciting. I'm desperate to read Rob's horror one.
Rob's horror one is cool.
Yeah, I can't wait.
It's cool.
What are you reading at the minute?
I'm reading Danny Marshall's Anthrax Island.
Oh, God, it's good, isn't it?
Yeah, it's crackerjack. Really, really good. I mean, he's so clever, and there's so much dark humour in it. And sometimes I just really laugh out loud, and other times I'm really terrified. So it's everything you'd want in a book. He's a good lad, Danny. Good lad.
Good guy, yeah. Good
God,
fella.
that's brilliant. It is. I really hope that book absolutely flies because it's the perfect balance of all of. You're laughing out loud and you're feeling terrified you're feeling transported by the words that he uses.
Oh yeah.
I finished The Red Admiral's Secret last night. Which Matt Ross's, which we're launching on Wednesday, which will be in the past when this goes out, which is a bit time bendy like Sean's book. But it was cracking. Matt Ross's writing is fantastic anyway from the first one. But yeah, it's just those cast of characters are so. Yeah, they stick in your head. I love it.
I think my thing with Matt is his dialogue is just so on point that it makes you kind of never want to write any lines of dialogue again. If you've just finished editing one of Matt's books and then you try and write your own, you notice that nobody says anything for 15, 16 pages. You can't speak with that.
But that makes me want to up my game. When I look at the writers that I admire, it makes me just want to up my game. Yeah. And I think that's why, I just read, We Begin at the End as well by Chris Whitaker.
Oh, God, that's beautiful.
And I read Stephen Gould's Say Goodbye When I'm Gone. Yeah. And, you hear the voice. The voices are so strong, cracking. And when you read something like that, it makes you go, no, do you know what? You make me want to be a better man. You know what I mean? You make me want to be a better writer. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna step up.
It's interesting, editing Steve's book, and every time you read through it, it just gets. You're not even that you're changing that much of it, but every time you reread it again, it's getting better and better. And you're like, this is the most ridiculously talented man. He's incredibly talented. It's
Hold on a minute, Sean. I've come on to talk about my book and nobody's fangirled me. You were all over Stu Turton like a rat.
Hey, we've all been fanboying and fan-personing all over the place.
You can still fanboy a female writer. That's not a sexist thing.
I'm still convinced Sean hasn't made it. No, but yeah, you'd be the fanboy, wouldn't you? And I'd be the fangirl. Isn't that the way it works?
Rob said you had to be a fan person.
Yes,
a fan person.
A fan person. Yes. Sounds like I've said I can be a fan person. Yes.
It's just that before I started any of this publishing shenanigans, I read, well, not writing, but before I started publishing shenanigans, I read The 7 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle and thought that was a fucking amazing book because it did all of the things I wanted to do. It plays with time and it plays with sci-fi, but it's not at all about sci-fi, and it's all of those things. It's all of those things you do in Witness X. It's all of those things. I love it. I love that kind of thing.
It's exciting, isn't it? It's exciting. It transports you. That's what you want when you read a book. You want to go somewhere. You want to go on a journey, don't you?
Yeah.
I read. I'm reading. What am I reading? Oh, I finished The Curious Dispatch of Daniel Costello. What a lovely little slice, Mr. McDonald. Very cute.
Chris, how do you pump these out? You've got kids and a job, and you are prolific.
They're only short, though, aren't they?
No. But that I saw Eve Smith's quote for that little zinging line. Agatha Christie meets The Hangover. What a line!
Gorgeous.
That is so great, and it's so
Gorgeous.
fit. Yeah. It was so good. So no, I get to start.
Yeah.
I'm reading the Border by Don Winslow at the same time. But that's so big that I just have to. That's my trundle off to sleep thing. While during the day I read stuff. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, read until I can't read anymore, and then I will. Because I've books at different places in the house for different times of the day. So what a weirdo.
Yeah, that's still. So I'm not reading anything because we are on this schedule. Yeah, there's 5 books out with Red Dog in February, and another 4 out in March, and another 3 out in April. And
because Sharon Burden's one of yours, isn't she?
Yeah, she is.
The Sins of the Father. That was a cracking book. That was dark.
Her next one's out sort of October, November time. Or my she wait, where is she? My schedule's in front of me. So she's on You Need Me. That's up there. So probably September time, I think we'll see the next bed. And
she's just a great girl as well. She's someone I really want to meet when we get together.
She's looking forward to meeting her. Cheesy chips together.
And she's also a master of pulling the Sins of the Father. The first part of that is pulling absolute visceral raw experience and putting.
Oh, unbelievable! I mean, really visceral, dark. Yeah, but tough reading.
Yeah, it is, but it's absolutely
ultimately satisfying. Yeah,
but it's absolutely perfectly executed in music. Yeah,
for sure.
It was a no-brainer. When we read the first draft, and then she withdrew it and re-edited it and worked with an agent and came back, and we were like, we're still the same. Yes, bring it. Yeah. So I'm not. I just don't have time to read between that and homeschooling and writing my own book. By the time I finish here, I just go to sleep.
Can I put out an appeal to our public listeners? Everyone should go out and buy Witness X. Everyone should read it. It's absolutely brilliant. It's excitement is the word, but also the high concept nature of this book. And you've managed to take a high concept thing and do it in such a realistic way that I was absolutely transfixed by it. So I absolutely love Witness X. And I think everyone should go out and get it immediatly.
Yeah. Oh, thanks, Rob. Thank you. And it's only 99p. It's less than a Costa coffee. Less than half price of a Costa.
I want to champion great work like this, and I want to put my hand up and say this should have a massive, massive audience and should be
on Netflix.
On Netflix, Prime, Sky. You know where we are. You know how to get in touch with Sarah Moorhead. Okay, so you come to us. We'll. That's you.
That's me.
For my part, I think not since Time Traveler's Wife have I been so transported by something that was ostensibly sci-fi, but not sci-fi in its telling. It was completely crime, whereas Time Traveler's Wife completely romance, weirdness. But at the root of it, you have to understand the time bendiness. Or the science that you're being given, and you go, right, that's okay, I've understood that, and the rest of it is just humanity, character, and story, and that's Brilliant. What makes it incredible. And I guess if you are looking for quantum physics and skiffy, but if you're looking for everything that you've ever wanted in a book, it's definitely your bag.
I just hope that readers take a chance on it, because, as I say, it's just a crime thriller, but with a little bit of what if.
Yeah.
It's not scary. No. It's not a scary book. It's a little bit of what if.
Brilliant. Absolutely.
Yeah, it is.
Well, thank you so much for joining us on this Blood Brothers podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for making us super highbrow with talk of religion and science.
Yeah, you're one of the good ones, Sarah. You're one of the good people in this industry. Thanks, we love you loads. Take care of yourself.
Oh, thanks, guys. Thanks so much. Bye-bye now.
Bye now.
Bye.